In rural Oklahoma, a family of 4 was murdered inside their home over Labor Day weekend, 1974. A father, a mother, a 5-year-old girl, and a 15-month-old baby boy. But the man convicted of killing them claimed he didn't act alone. He said a hitchhiker did it. A man investigator says never existed. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we are covering one of the most disturbing murder cases in Oklahoma history, the Thrasher family murders in Oklahoma. Woodward, Oklahoma. This case includes a mass murder, a stolen murder weapon, confrontational defense involving a phantom accomplice, and decades of imprisonment. The victims were Mervin Thrasher, age 28, Sandra Thrasher, age 27, and their 2 children, Penelope, age 5, and Robert, just 15 months. A family living in rural Oklahoma, known in the community as quiet, normal, and newly settled. They had only moved to Woodward in January 1974. On the night of September the 3rd, 1974, Marvin Thrasher's boss and co-worker, Bob, became concerned. Marvin didn't show up for work, and he wasn't answering calls. That was completely out of character. Around 10:30 p.m., he went to the Thrasher home. The house was dark. Looking through the window with a flashlight, he saw Sandra Thrasher lying on the bedroom floor. He immediately called the police. Inside the home, investigators found Mervin and Sandra in the bedroom. Marvin had been bound, his hands tied behind the back and feet tied together, and shot multiple times in the head. Some reports also described the couple as having been hog-tied back to back. The children were found inside the home, killed in their bunk beds. Marvin Thrasher was described as a hard-working, dependable family man. He worked for the Michigan-Wisconsin Pipeline Company and had previously served in the U.S. Navy from 1965 to 1969. On Labor Day, September the 2nd, 1974, just one day before the discovery, he was even called out at 4:30 a.m. to repair a pipeline engine. His reliability was so consistent that when he didn't show up the next day, it immediately raised red flags. That concern is what immediately led to the discovery of the crime scene. The family was known locally as a nice church-going people. Investigators later identified a connection between the Thrasher family and Bobby Wayne Collins. Marvin would frequently stop at a local service station in Woodward, where Collins worked as an attendant. That brief customer interaction is believed to have given Collins knowledge of the family and their rural home. At the time, Collins had only lived in Woodward, Oklahoma for a month. About a week before the murders, on August 27, 1974, the Thrasher home was burglarized. A .77 caliber rifle was stolen. That rifle would later be identified as a murder weapon. Collins later confessed to the burglary. He claimed he committed it alongside a hitchhiker named Jerry. According to Collins, they entered through an unlocked back door and hid the rifle out of town. Investigators later linked the weapon through ballistic evidence and shell casing comparisons. The rifle itself was later recovered years after the trial, reportedly found in the pond. Collins also gave an alibi for the days of the murders. He claimed he had purchased a car just 3 days earlier on September the 2nd. He said he left Woodward after work and drove towards Canadian Texas to visit his brother. But he said he got lost and accidentally drove towards the Kansas border instead. He eventually returned to Woodward around 9:15 a.m. After returning, he went to a discount store and purchased tennis shoes. Those shoes later became a key piece of evidence in the case. At trial, Collins admitted to being near or at the Thrasher home during the time of the murders, but he claimed he was not the killer. Instead, he blamed a hitchhiker named Jerry. He claimed he met Jerry while traveling from Enid to Woodward. He said Jerry stayed with him and eventually carried out the murders. Collins claimed he heard 4 gunshots from outside the home, but investigators found no record of any person named Jerry. Not in state records, not in federal records, not anywhere. Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation searched nationwide databases and found nothing. No driver's license, no employment records, no tax records, nothing to suggest Jerry Prowse ever existed. A bloody shoe print at the scene matched tennis shoes purchased by Collins himself. And during interrogation, Collins allegedly made incriminating statements, including, "I see them in my sleep. My God, that little girl was still asleep." The jury ultimately rejected the hitchhiker theory. Collins was arrested and charged in connection with the murders. He was also formally charged with the early burglary of the Thrasher home. The burglary charge was filed on September the 15th, 1974. Collins was arrested and charged in connection with the murders. He was also formally charged with the early burglary of the Thrasher home, and burglary charges was filed on September the 15th, 1974. In 1974, jury Garfield County convicted Bobby Lee Wayne Collins of 4 counts of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to death. In 1977, the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals overturned the mandatory death sentence. At the time, Oklahoma's death penalty statute was ruined, unconstitutional. His sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. Collins became eligible for parole review every 3 years. He had been repeatedly denied parole, including 1989, 1992, and 2009. The parole board cited both the severity of the crime and his continued denial of guilt. The parole board both cited both severity of the crime and his continued denials of guilt. As the recent records, he remains incarcerated in Oklahoma. To this day, Bobby Wayne Collins maintains his incarceration, still claiming that a hitchhiker, a man investigator says never existed, was responsible. But the physical evidence, witness testimony, and forensic links told a very different story, and the Thrasher family murder remains one of the most disturbing cases in Oklahoma history. A case that began with a stolen rifle and ended in a lifetime behind bars. And that's the story of the Thrasher murders in Oklahoma. A case that sticks with people because of how violent it was and how many questions it left behind.
Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.